Hello again. In the description to this video, I give a link to a report issued today by the Children's Commissioner on the prevalence of and effect of what used to be called broken homes. That is to say, children being raised without both parents living together in a stable relationship. This is catastrophic for children, as many of us know. Such children are twice as likely to get into trouble with the police, have mental health problems in later life, become alcoholics or drug addicts, just to mention a few of the problems. Girls raised without their father's involvement are more likely to have sex at a young age, to be promiscuous, and to have babies at a younger age without being married or in a stable relationship. Both boys and girls are less likely to succeed academically and are more likely to end up in prison or unemployed. All this has been known for years, but of course nobody liked to say so for fear of appearing to be old-fashioned or, what is worse, racist. Because of course some immigrant communities are very fond of broken homes and go in for them in a much greater way than the white majority in Britain. This makes it all a very sensitive subject. Almost 80% of white children in this country are not brought up in single-parent families. Just 22% of white British children grow up in this way. Twice as many children of African origin live in that sort of household, 44%, and almost 60% of Caribbean kids. For comparison, over 90% of Chinese and Indian children live with both parents. Of course, the slave trade and colonialism is often blamed for the fact that Caribbeans seem to find it so hard to raise children in traditional families. It is suggested that the structure of society in the Caribbean during the days of slavery disrupted the idea of marriage among the black slaves, and what we see today is a result of this. Such an explanation does not tell us why African families in this country are twice as likely to be headed by a single person as white ones, though, so I find that idea quite unconvincing. What is curious, though, is to look at how this tendency to avoid what most of us think of as proper families correlates closely with criminality and antisocial behaviour. Black people in Britain are far more likely to end up in prison statistically than whites are. Chinese people and Indians, on the other hand, are very unlikely to end up there. Is there a connection between this undesirable outcome and the family structure in which people grew up? Does the absence of fathers affect young people that much? According to the Children's Commissioner's report, it does. Looking just at white children, it is they, the ones who grew up in single-parent families, who tend to become homeless or alcoholics or be sent to prison. There seems to be a strong and direct link between being raised in a single-parent home and not doing well in life, which means that it might be worth looking at this aspect when considering black crime. Is the fact that black youths tend to be stopped and searched more often by the police, are more likely to be sent to prison, more likely to be the victims or perpetrators of homicide, are these things caused by racist police officers and judges? Or is it connected with family structure and the absence of fathers? If so, what causes the failure of black families? Is it really a legacy of colonialism and the slave trade, or might it be connected, say, with the earlier onset of puberty and sexual activity in black children, or some other biological factor? This is an important area of research because if we could figure out what is happening, then we might be able to get to grips with why so many black youths seem to go off the rails and become involved with gangs and so on. I recommend that people click on the link I give to this report and go through it because a lot of the information there is profoundly disturbing in the first place and might help us work out how to tackle crime generally in this country by strengthening marriage, for example, and encouraging it through things like tax breaks.